Okay, so for this drawing, what we're going to be doing is a 1-point perspective drawing using 6H pencils to begin the drawing, and eventually create 15 boxes floating in this space, and the boxes are random sizes, 15 boxes floating in space, and one of those should be turned into a letter form, and one of them should have a texture from the previous drawing that you did. So we're going to measure this off. In this case, we're just going to keep it simple and go to about halfway, which would be 5.5. And then make my mark on the opposite side. 11 at the bottom, 5.5. And strike a line across. This line is going to be our eye level. Our eye level or horizon line is an imaginary line that we use to determine a separation between whatever's above and whatever's below our eye level, what we see in this space, right? So in 1-point perspective, the idea is that you have an object coming towards you, and what you initially see is the face of the object, or the front plane of the object, and not a corner or an angle or a 3/4 view of it, right? So essentially what we're seeing is, imagine this little box, right? And instead of seeing the corner of this box towards you, what you actually see is just this front plane, or this face of the box. We can turn it, and now what we're looking at is this front plane of the box, right? So not this. This would be a 2-point when you're only able to see these 3 parts, and this is perfectly parallel. This is parallel to the top and bottom of your page. That means that this is at a 1-point perspective. So this front plane is directly at you. These two are parallel and also parallel to the edges of the paper. And then the top and bottom of that front plane is also parallel to the top and bottom of the paper. So what happens is these lines will then converge to a vanishing point somewhere on that eye level, right? Depending on whether we're looking on top of it or we're looking below the box, our eye level will determine that, right? So, and then these lines are called orthogonal lines. Those are the ones that converge back. These are just vertical, horizontal lines, right? And what happens will be this line, and this line will be parallel. Any diagonals or orthogonal lines will vanish to the vanishing point, and all verticals will also be parallel to each other. All right, so let's get to it. We'll do 1 box, and then you can repeat the process as many times as you need. We'll do 1 box below the eye level, 1 box at the eye level, and 1 box above it. So we start off with the front face of the box. We want this to be at a 90 degrees. I have a ruler here that allows me to easily look across and line this up with the eye level, and it allows me then to make vertical lines. Okay, so what we first need is a vanishing point. You can put the vanishing point right in the middle. I like to put it off to the side a little bit, just so that I have a little bit more of an interesting composition. With a single point, we can expand as much as we want. So in this case, we're going to start there, and now we have this nice vertical line, and just randomly we'll select another space to create another vertical line. Now we need to create horizontal lines to finish the shape And I'm gonna again line up these long lines. Makes this easier. So line up the long lines, connect that. Line up that line, connect that. So now I have a oddly or not very accurately proportioned or exactly proportioned box. It's close, but it's not exactly a box. It's more of a rectangle. So now that I have the front face of that box, I'm gonna use my ruler to direct back to the vanishing point. And I want to keep things very light. They can barely see it. So from the closest edge to the vanishing point, not the furthest, but the closest edge. This is the closest edge of this square. That's the side that I want to take the corners of that and have them diminish to that vanishing point. And then the opposite top. And then arbitrarily decide where I want to end my box. So this, and this back line all need to be parallel to each other. So I'm just going to arbitrarily decide that my box ends here. And then line up my ruler, make a straight line, right? And then do the same thing for the horizontal, and that's the end of the box. So these vertical lines are all parallel to each other. These horizontal lines are all parallel to each other, right, and to the eye level, right? And then the orthogonal lines, or diagonal ones, are all converging to that vanishing point, right? So now we'll do a box. We'll do it on this side. We'll do a box right on that eye level. And you'll see the difference with this. What we'll end up getting is only two sides. Because essentially what that means is we are only able to see two edges of it, because the top and the bottom of it are above our eye level. And so we're not able to see a top portion of the box, nor a bottom portion of the box, or bottom plane or face of the box. Again, going for the points closest, and then arbitrarily decide where I want to end my box. And that's the end of the box. Right, so all parallel to one another. Now we'll do another one up here, so that you can see a box above the eye level, a box below the eye level. I'm going to change the size of these so that there's interesting variety. Our eyes like to see variety, so that has a tendency to make more interesting compositions. So doing the same thing over and over, same size, same tempo, tends to be monotonous and not as interesting. So corner closest to the vanishing point, edges closest to the vanishing point. That's where we'll take our points, converge them down. This is where you want to be a little bit more precise to make sure that you're going right back at that point. And then, just like before, we'll arbitrarily decide where we're going to end our box. In this case, I want my box to be a little longer. So we have, again, a little bit of variety. And here, we're stuck in a little bit of a pickle. I don't have anything to sort of line things up with. So an easy solution, if you're only using a ruler, you don't have a triangle to get your verticals or horizontal lined up. With this kind of ruler, I just add another line, another vertical line off in the distance, which is going to be just a construction line. Now I can line up my ruler like this, find the longest lines, make sure that this lines up with that, this lines up with that and that point, and now I have a nice clean edge.